Alright, Shalom. First and foremost, I give all praises to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai. That's all praises to the Heavenly Father, and the name of His only begotten Son, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. We're the Sector Stakari, our Hebrew Israelites, are coming in with another lesson for the flock. So today's lesson is going to be quick and straight to the point, but we're going to be going over some breaking down and cutting some OT only doctrine. And for those who don't know what OT only doctrine is, it's basically the Israelites that only believe in the Old Testament. And we're going to be going over 3 points that they like to use to where they deny the Messiah, Yahweh Shai, who the world calls Jesus Christ, and the whole New Testament. So we're going to go over just 3 today. You know, obviously it's something we can do, and there's a lot of points they try to use, and we can go over all that. Today we just got 3. So we're going to start with the human sacrifice portion. Alright, so we're going to get right into it. Let's start with the first precept. Genesis chapter 22, verse 1 to 2.
Con. This is the book of Genesis, chapter 22, and verse 1. And it reads, And it came to pass after these things that God did tempt Abraham, and said unto him, Abraham. And he said, Behold, here am I.
So like, let me just be clear. So what I mean by human sacrifice, by the way, is one of the arguments that they use is God does not, or the Most High, does not accept human sacrifice. Therefore, the sacrifice of the Messiah cannot be accepted by the Lord. So we're going to see through the scriptures and see if God ever asked of it or if he ever accepted it. And we have 2 major points to show that contradict their argument. Okay? So go ahead, verse 2.
Con. And he said, Take now thy only son, Salakia, thy only son Isaac, whom thou lovest, and set thee into the land of Moriah, and offer him therefore.
And what?
And offer him therefore a burnt offering up on one of the mountains, which I will tell thee of.
So now that, right, see right away, that's the Lord speaking. And he said, do what? Take your son Isaac and offer him for a burnt offering. Now let's go to Sirach 15 and 20.
Con.
Because now what they'll say to that is, well, he didn't end up doing it, and the Lord stopped him. That doesn't change the fact that the Lord commanded it. So you guys gotta understand that the Lord is never gonna command somebody to perform sin. He's not gonna tell you, go ahead and commit adultery. Go ahead, eat this pork. He's not gonna do that. You see what I'm saying? So just to prove that, let's get a couple precepts.
Go on. This is the book of Sirach, or Ecclesiasticus, chapter 15 and verse 20.
God.
He commanded no man to do wickedly.
He did what?
He commanded no man to do wickedly.
So he's commanded no man to do wickedly. Go ahead.
Con. Neither hath he given any man license to sin.
See that? So he didn't tell Abraham to commit something wicked. He wouldn't do that. He's not the author of sin. He's not going to tell you to commit sin. You see what I'm saying? He hates sin. All right? Now let's get one more. I know they don't agree with the New Testament. But we're going to get James chapter 2 verse 13 anyway. It's something you know, for the brothers out there laboring in this truth, we can put this in the, you know, in the precept pack to cut it. Even though they don't agree with it, we still use it anyway, because it just backs up what Sirach says, and obviously what Genesis 22 says as well.
Con. This is the book of James, chapter 2 and verse 13. For he shall have judgment without mercy, that hath shewed no mercy, and mercy rejoiceth against judgment.
Sorry, let me make sure that's the right one. It might not be 13. Get James 2.
18.
Sorry, chapter 1 verse 13. My apologies.
So what? Yeah. This is the book of James, chapter 1 and verse 13. Let no man say, when he is tempted, I am tempted of God. For God cannot be tempted with evil. Neither tempt he any man.
Neither what?
Neither tempt he any man.
So the Lord is not going to tempt you with evil. All right, He's going to try you to see if you commit evil, but He's not going to tempt you and tell you to do the evil. All right. So that's out of the question. Last point, and this is a huge, huge cut, and everybody needs to pay attention to this precept because this completely destroys this whole idea of human sacrifice. The Lord does not accept human atonement. Before we get the precept, it's in Numbers 25. Can you pull up the blue letter for me on your phone, bro?
Numbers 25.
Yeah, and then you can read it from your book.
Let's get the blue letter. Alrighty.
So Numbers 25. You can start at. You can go to verse 13 with that one.
Numbers 25.
All right, everyone, pay good attention to this. This is straight out of the Torah. This is straight out of the law. All right.
Go on.
And it's out of the mouth of Yahweh, the Most High Himself. So it's not an angel or a man speaking. This is the Most High Himself speaking.
Go on.
You can get the. So start at verse 20. Yeah, chapter 25, verse 1. And I'll go over this.
Here. Son, this is the book of Numbers, chapter 25 and verse 1. And Israel abode in Shittim, and the people began to commit whoredom with the daughters of Moab.
All right, so everyone's familiar with the story in the wilderness when we went a whoring with the daughters of Moab. Read verse 2.
Verse 2. And they called the people unto the sacrifice of their gods. And the people did eat and bow down to their gods.
Right. So that's what happened. We're all familiar with the story. Now we all know Phineas. He was the man that saved the day. All right, a priest. So jump to verse 7.
Come on. Verse 7. And when Phineas, the son of Eleazar, the son of Aaron, the priest, saw it, he rose up from among the congregation and took a javelin in his hand.
Right.
And he went after the man of Israel into the tent.
Right.
And thrust both of them through.
See, so Phineas killed a man of Israel and the Moabite that was causing our people to go astray. That's what he did. Okay, keep that in mind. He killed them. All right. Jump to verse 10 now.
Come on.
Actually, 10.
Come on. And the Lord spake.
And who?
And the Lord spake.
All right, pay good attention.
Unto Moses, saying, Phineas, the son of Eleazar, the son of Aaron, the priest, hath turned my wrath away from the children of Israel, while he was zealous for my sake among them, that I consume not the children of Israel.
That he did what?
That I consume not the children of Israel in my jealousy.
Right. So whatever he did, he stayed the plague. He removed the plague off of the children of Israel. That,
On.
and we know what he did. He killed 2 people. All right? Keep reading.
Go on. Wherefore say, behold, I give unto him my covenant of peace, and he shall have it, and this seed after him, even the covenant of an everlasting priesthood, because he was zealous for his God, and made an atonement for the children of Israel.
Made a what?
Atonement for the children of Israel.
All right, so here we go. This is the point. The verse says, unlock your phone, please. Oh, sure. He says he made an atonement for the children of Israel. Now, what did he do? Did he take a ram and go and offer it on the altar? He didn't do none of that. All right, he killed 2 people. So why is the Lord saying he made an atonement to where the Lord accepted it and the plague removed off of the camp of Israel? If the Lord does not take human atonement, why did that please the Lord to where he did not destroy the whole nation? See what I'm saying? That cuts the whole idea that the Most High does not accept human atonement. Therefore, you cannot use that against Yahweh Shai and his human atonement for our nation to take away the plague of sin on our people. See what I'm saying? That's straight out of the Lord's mouth. Now, in case anyone wants to play a game, we're going to read the definition of the word atonement in Numbers 25:13. The usage is, we're going to read the usage and the definition. To cover, purge, make an atonement, make reconciliation, cover over with pitch, to cover, to pacify. Watch this, to cover over, atone for sin, make atonement for. You see that? To cover over, atone for sin and persons by legal rights. That's the usage right there. And now we're going to go down to the definition. It says, figuratively, to expedite or condone, to placate or cancel, appease, make an atonement, cleanse, disannul, forgive, be merciful, purge, pardon, put off. Watch this, make reconciliation. That's the definition. And it's the exact same word, kapar. If you were to go to, for example, a precept like Leviticus 4:26, he shall burn all his fat upon the altar as the fat of the sacrifice of peace offerings, and the priest shall make an atonement for him as concerning his sin, and it shall be forgiven him. That's Leviticus 4:26. It's the exact same word. So you can't even play a game and say it's not the same. It's exactly the same. By definition, by the usage, by the word, and just by the context of Numbers 25, because the whole point was the Lord is about to kill everybody and send a plague amongst the camp for Israel sinning and worshiping other gods, and a man, Phinehas, a priest, killed 2 people, appeased the wrath of the Lord, and made an atonement. You're cut. You're finished. There's nothing you can say about that, about this whole human sacrifice thing. Right? Before we move on, did you want to bring anything out or had anything to say?
Oh no, that's right in the spirit right
there. All praise the Most High for revealing that. So that's the human sacrifice portion, that the argument they like to use. Now we're going to jump to David. And what I mean by David is they say that Yahushua is not the Messiah, David's the Messiah. And they use one precept. I've only seen them ever go to one, which is Ezekiel 37 and 25. So let's get it.
One. This is the book of Ezekiel, chapter 37 and verse 25. And they shall dwell in the land that I have given unto Jacob my servant, wherein your fathers have dwelt. And they, Salakia, and they shall dwell therein, even they and their children, and their children's children, forever. And my servant David shall be the prince forever.
So the verse says, my servant David shall be the prince. So they take that and they run with it, not knowing there's a whole context behind that whole prophecy, right? And it starts with the Most High talking to David, which, let's go to 2 Samuel chapter 7, all right? And it's not literally talking about David himself. It's talking about his offspring. So let's read that.
Go on. This is the book of 2 Samuel, chapter 7 and verse 12. And when the days be fulfilled, and thou shalt sleep with thy fathers.
And Salaki, this is the Most High again speaking to David. Go ahead.
Go on. I will set up thy seed after thee, which shall proceed out of thy bowels.
Out of what?
Out of thy bowels. And I will establish his kingdom.
No, your kingdom.
His kingdom. Go on.
Right.
He shall build an house for my name.
Right.
And I will establish the throne of his kingdom forever.
See that? He would have just said, look, you're going to come back. If it was that simple, like Ezekiel 37:25 seems to say, as you guys misuse, it would have been as simple as, here's a conversation between the man David, all right, and the Most High. And he would have said, you're going to come back. No, he said, your offspring, out of your bowels. I'm going to set up his, not your, his kingdom. Okay? So that cuts that. On top of that, let's get a couple precepts kind of line up with what we're saying. Jeremiah chapter 30, verse 21.
On.
Yeah.
This is the book of Jeremiah, chapter 30, and verse 21.
Bring it out.
And it reads, and their nobles shall be of themselves.
Of the what?
Of themselves.
All right, so this is a prophecy. This is a kingdom connotative prophecy where it's describing the kingdom to come. Okay? Anybody who has time, just start from verse 1 and read down, and you'll see that. You can see from verses 16 and down to 18, the waste places are going to be rebuilt. The temple is going to be rebuilt. It's done through 19 to 21. It's clear it's talking about the future kingdom of Israel. All right, so just for time's sake, we're not going to read the whole chapter, but so just to show 21 is the future kingdom. So their nobles shall be of themselves. Their nobles is what? They're mighty men. They're leaders. They're rulers. They're kings. They're priests. See, for example, like, remember we had an Edomite. He used to work in the temple when you're reading back in Chronicles and Kings. Or I can't remember where exactly. But there was an Edomite there. And that's an argument that's used, oh, well, you see, the Lord loves everybody. He had an Edomite working in the temple. No, not everything that we read our ancestors did was of the Lord. Because this prophecy proves that. You could see the prescribing or the prescription of what the Lord wants to happen, which is the nobles, the mighty men, the kings, the princes, the rulers, the priests, they will be of who? Themselves. That means their own people. So no more Edomites in the temple, no more, captains of the army that are of the other nations. No, all that's going to be of Israel, of ourselves, right? So that's kind of just a side point, but going in to what we're bringing out now, go ahead and finish that up.
Finish up reading that scripture.
This ain't, 21.
Go on.
Jeremiah 30.
30 and 21. Come on. Come on. Salakia. Of themselves. And their governor.
Their what?
And their governor.
That's the ruler, the king, Salaki.
Come on.
Go ahead.
Shall proceed from the midst of them.
Mm-hmm.
And I will cause him to draw near.
So him, it's talking about one man, all right, the king of Israel. Go ahead.
And he shall approach unto me.
Mm-hmm.
For who is that?
For what?
For who is this that engage his heart to approach unto me?
No, it's David. Read that again.
To engage his heart to approach unto me.
All right, then, and there's a question mark at the end of that sentence. But notice carefully what it says. It says, who is this? Okay, no, not David. It's who is this? Meaning it's a mystery. It's a man to come. We don't know yet. But it's not David. That's how you know in Ezekiel when it mentions him, it's talking about his offspring, his children. For example, right? This precept just came in my mind. I'll just grab it quick. In Amos chapter 9 and 12. We all know this precept, all right? Verse verse 11. In that day I will raise up the tabernacle of David that is fallen, and close up the breaches thereof. And I will raise up his ruins, and will build it as in the days of old. Is that just talking about David's house and his palace? No, it's not. It's just using his name because it means something. There's meaning behind it. Not that it's just talking about David himself or his palace or just his house. No, it's talking about what it means behind it, because when he was the king of Israel, there was righteousness going on. He had a lot of the nation subdued. Israel was pretty much at peace for a bit till, we started to sin again. So that's what there's meaning behind it. In Ezekiel, when it says David, it's not talking about himself. It's talking about his offspring and what that offspring, what that means and what that represents coming from David. The kingdom's going to be like that, but even greater. It's never going to have an end. Like the point you brought out before we started, David's kingdom, he had nations in subjection, but it didn't last forever. That's how you know another man of his bowels has to come and set that up forever, which we read in 2 Samuel 7, right?
Come on.
You have anything you want to bring up?
No, that's mighty in the spirit already.
All right, Con. So we can read that one in Psalms now.
Come on. This is the book of Psalms, chapter 132 and verse 11.
Bring it up.
The Lord had sworn in truth unto David. He will not turn from it.
So he's speaking to David, and he swore to David. What did he tell him?
He will not turn from it. Of the fruit of thy body will I set upon thy throne.
Boom. So that's done. That's cut. Can't be David. And there's more precepts, obviously, but for time's sake, those are some main daggers to cut that whole idea, that whole doctrine that it's David himself and not Yahushua. It's quite silly, but it is what it is. That's finished. So now, the last point we wanted to bring out is prophecy. And what do we mean by that? What we mean is another argument that the OT onlys are like to make. And if you ever encounter them, you know what's so funny?
Tell me about it.
Yeah, I got a story, man. Through the Spirit, which is so crazy. Yesterday, I was walking, and I seen a brother, and he had fringes on.
Gone.
And he was I stopped him like, "Hey, brother, nice fringes at Shalom." And he stopped. He looked at me. He's like, "Well, where are yours?" I'm like, "I have my tassels on." I'm like, "It's right here." And he's like, "Oh, those aren't real fringes." And he starts going on this whole tangent. I'm like, brother, come. We can build. We can talk. Just slow down. We don't gotta get off to what you're doing and what I'm doing or who's wrong. And then he's like, so I'm like, anyways, these are the way I rock them. The law gives us permission to wear these tassels as well. So if you see something different, it's all good. But I'm like, how long you been in the truth? He's like, oh, like 10 years. And I'm like, what are you like what camp are you in? He's like, I'm not in no camp. And I don't believe in that Roman New Testament. This happened yesterday. I forgot. And it's so funny that we're going it totally slipped my mind. And I tried to build with the brother and say, yo, let me take your number. Let's build, let's talk. And he wasn't trying to. He was like, oh, no, I don't want to. I'm like, but brother, why do you believe it's, the New Testament is Roman and this and that? He's like, oh, Christ came to do away with law and prophecy. But I was trying to talk to him, and they, some bug outs, they just like to scurry off. They don't like to hear nothing because they don't want to have the delusion cut. So I told him, hey, if I see you again, Lord willing, I can chop it up with you. But he was in a rush. So if you're watching this is for you.
For you, brother. Through the Spirit.
Through the Spirit. That's crazy. I forgot about that. That's crazy. All right. So prophecy. Did Christ come to do away with prophecy, or did he? Okay, because their main argument is this. Well, we're supposed to be saved upon the arrival of the Messiah. So how come when Christ came, we just went back into captivity? That's one of their arguments. They don't know prophecy, because for them to make a statement like that, that means they're not considering all prophecy. And another thing that, a term that our deacon and our camp likes to use is order to prophecy. There's order to prophecy. We can't just jump and skip prophecy. All prophecy that has been laid out in the Tanakh has to play out. You can't just, and the Messiah, the King, cannot come and do away with the timeline of it. That's what a lot of OT onlys are missing. So, did Christ save us upon his arrival from our enemies physically? No. And here's why. Hosea 6:1.
This is the book of Hosea, chapter 6, and verse 1. Come and let us return unto the Lord, for he hath torn and he will heal us.
So the Lord, so we have been broken, right? We've been scattered as a people. We've been downtrodden and oppressed under the curses, of course. Blacks, Hispanics, Native Indians. All right.
Go on.
Now we've been broken. Now he's going to heal us, he says, but he gives us a timeline when. Go ahead.
Go on. Salakia. He had smitten, and he will bind us up. Verse 2. After 2 days.
After what?
After 2 days. Will he revive us.
Right.
In the 3rd day, he will raise us up.
So what does that mean? This shows you that why Christ could not have healed us when he showed up and saved us from our enemies, because this is just one, for example. We got the slave ships, we got the captivity, right? The oppression. All that has to play out. Christ, and we're going to get the precepts, Christ can't come away and do away with any of that. He can only come and show the path for us to teach us and our children, that we keep it, and in the time of our revival, we, that, remember he says the Holy Spirit will bring you into remembrance of all things, those teachings, which now in our captivity in these last days, we are waking up to those very teachings that are going to save us now. That's what he came to do, and to bring spiritual life, make atonement, so that way we can escape the destruction coming to Mystery Babylon. So now, what does it say? It says 2 days he will revive us. From 2 days from Hosea said this, did Israel get saved? It wasn't 2 days. It cannot be literal 2 days. So it has to be a spiritual 2 days. What's it say in the book of Psalms? Let me try to get it. Let me see if I can remember where it is. No, not that one. Let me see if my memory serves me right. I'm thinking. No. Either way, we know in Peter it says a day with the Lord is as 1,000 years, right? That's quoting Psalms. Just for time's sake, we're not going to get it, but everyone knows that's there. So is it talking about 2 literal 24-hour periods? No, it's talking about 2,000-year periods. Now, what does that mean? From the time, and pay attention, might get a little deep, but it's not too deep. But from the time of 70 AD, when Christ showed up, well, he showed up before that, but after his teachings, when 70 AD happened, our hometown, the original home of blacks, Hispanics, Native Indians, got destroyed and sacked by the devil. The Bible speaks of the Edomites, right? And from that point to 70 AD till now, it's been a 2,000-year period. And we are literally, okay, so read the rest of the verse after for the 3rd day. Verse 2, and the 3rd day.
Verse 2. On the 3rd day, here, he will raise us up,
right,
and we shall live in his sight.
See that? So now we're approaching that 3rd 1,000-year period, where right now in the 2nd 1,000-year period, we are being revived. The valley of dry bones, we're waking up now. Flesh is getting put on our bodies. We're not dry anymore. We have life, right? The commandments, of course. All right. And now we're approaching that 3rd 1,000-year period where he's going to raise us up. Resurrection time, time to go back home and rule the nations. That's what that prophecy means. Now that's important because Christ, he could not have come to do away with this and skip the timeline and say, well, I know it's in the 2nd and 3rd 1,000-year period that Israel has to be saved, but I'm going to go ahead and, jumpstart it, forget all that, I'm going to do it now. No. And then what's hypocritical and the irony behind your guys' logic is Christ came to do away with law and prophecy. But then he follows law and prophecy. He doesn't do away with prophecy. He follows everything in order, right? Waits for us. We have to go into captivity, have to go on slave ships, but you want him to save us now. But you're mad at him because you think he did away with prophecy. You see the stupid logic doesn't make any sense. That's how you know he's the Messiah, because he did everything according to the book. You guys are the ones not going according to the book. Now let's get the precept, Matthew 5 and 17.
This is the book of Matthew, chapter 5 and verse 17. Think not that I am come to destroy the law or the prophets.
The what?
Or the prophets. I am not come to destroy, but to fulfill.
What's Yahushua come to do?
But to fulfill.
All right, see that? So he came to fulfill, not to do away with. not to change anything, no timelines, nothing. So don't be mad that we didn't get saved at the time of his arrival, because us stubborn and rebellious people, we were still breaking the commandments, and it was already prophesied we'd have to go on slave ships in America and Mystery Babylon. But then his salvation is coming. You guys got to understand order to prophecy, right? And the deacon of our camp, again, he has great lessons on that, order to prophecy, what has to take place. All right, you guys got to check that out. So now let's go to the last precept, John chapter 18, verse 36. Another thing is this, right? If anybody is well versed in the book of Daniel, Daniel speaks about the kingdoms to rule and the nations of who's going to be in charge after what nation and who's next and so on, right? So that's another point. It was prophesied for certain nations to rule. And Rome is the final one, the Edomites, aka so-called white man, to rule for a certain period. Now, if Daniel says that's going to happen, how can our Messiah come and do away with that? If the Lord already spoke, that's what he wants to happen. He wants this nation to rule for this certain period. He can't. But you guys use that as an argument against him, not knowing it just proves that he's the Messiah. Right? Read that.
Come on. This is the book of John, chapter 18 and verse 36. Jesus answered, "My kingdom is not of this world."
My what?
My kingdom is not of this world.
Not of this world, meaning this current government, this current system that is ruling the earth, which is Rome at the time and to this day, the revised Roman Empire. Go ahead.
Come on. If my kingdom were of this world, then would my servants fight.
You see what he's saying? When it's time for him to rule, the servants will fight. All right, we see that in all kinds of prophecies, right? Daniel 7:18. Saints are gonna take the kingdom. We see that in Zechariah 12 and 8, Zechariah 10 and 5. We're gonna fight and get the kingdom. But now is not the time. He said, "My kingdom is not of this world." So I'm not doing that. I'm gonna fulfill prophecy. I'm gonna die for you guys. I'm gonna keep my mouth shut like a lamb led to the slaughter. He did not open his mouth, right?
Come on.
Isaiah 53, which we can go into that, but that just cuts you guys like crazy. But we're not even gonna go into that right now. So, is that it on that verse?
There's more on that.
Come on.
That I should not be delivered to the Jews, but now is my kingdom from Salakia. My kingdom not from hence.
Right. So it's not his time yet. It's not time for that, for Christ's kingdom to rule the earth. Let me get a quick precept. Let's get Isaiah 9 and 6 real quick.
Isaiah 9 and 6?
Yeah, Isaiah 9 and 6. And what we mean by Christ's kingdom, we're just going to read it quick.
This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 9 and verse 6. And it reads, "For unto us a child is born, unto us a son is given, and the government shall be upon his shoulder, and his name shall be called Wonderful, Counselor, the Mighty God, the Everlasting Father,
Right.
the Prince of Peace."
See that? So this is the kingdom we're waiting for, right? Where Christ, where the Son is born, or he's already born, obviously we're waiting for his second return, right? And he's gonna, sorry, my bad, Salaki, read verse 7.
Come on. Verse 7. "Of the increase of his government and peace there shall be no end."
There shall be what?
There shall be no end.
Remember, right? David's kingdom had an end. It ended. And it his children's children after him, it ended miserably. No disrespect to David, obviously, but his ancestors, our ancestors, his children messed it up. But Yahushai, because he's righteous and perfect and lives forever, right? There's gonna be no end to his kingdom. Go ahead.
"Upon the throne of David and upon his kingdom."
Notice what it says. It's talking about the son, that ruler that's coming on the throne of David. If it's the same person, that doesn't make sense. That goes back to our second point in the lesson.
Come on.
I see that cut. Go ahead.
"Upon his kingdom to order it and to establish it with judgment and with justice
Right.
from henceforth, even forevermore. the zeal of the Lord of hosts will perform this.
So this kingdom is going to be ordered with justice and judgment. What does that mean? Justice for our people, blacks, Hispanics, Native Indians, first and foremost. We're going to get the justice we've deserved, the justice that this nation has never ever given us. Speaking of America, these Edomites, we've never gotten it. Never gotten any assistance from no other nation to help from what the crimes that the white people have done to our people. So God's going to give us justice. We're not going to wait for you people and your reparations. The Lord is going to give us justice.
That's right.
And his kingdom is going to be established in judgment, meaning the laws are going to go forth into the earth, and all the nations that think they're going to disobey and break the law, they're going to face the wrath of the Lord. That's the kingdom we're waiting for under Yahweh Shai, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ.
Go on. Quick precept, and this is just going back to the brother's point of when he's talking about, you know, the things that what Christ will fulfill. All right? This is the book of Acts, chapter 3 and verse 18. But those things which God had Salakia. But those things which God before that shewed by the mouth of his prophets that Christ should suffer, he had so fulfilled. So this is just going into the brother's point, speaking of, you know, the things that was written of him.
Right.
As the brother said, there's order to prophecy. So there's order in the way of how things shall be done, man.
Yeah, that's an excellent precept. Yeah, excellent precept. That's a great one. It shows you what he came to fulfill and that order to prophecy. He had to fulfill this the specific things mentioned of him at the specific time, not just every single thing. Right? So that's an excellent precept. All praises the Most High.
All praises.
Any last points? If not, we're gonna close out.
That's it on that.
So with that, I hope the lesson was good. All right, for our people, blacks, Hispanics, Native Indians, repent, keep the commandments, study, get right with the Lord. All right, the end is coming. All right, we're gonna give all praises to Yahweh B'Hashem Yahweh Shai. All right, with that, Kwam Yasharallah.
Kwam Yasharallah.
Shalom.
Shalom.